You ever see two kids fighting over a secret in school, and the louder one tries to buy the other kid's silence with candy? Yeah, that's the energy I'm getting right now with Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and Isabela Ferrer. I'm sitting here connecting the dots, and I can't help but notice a pattern. Every time Blake's name is tangled in whispers about Justin Baldoni and Isabela Ferrer, something shifts in the background like a payoff, a sudden disappearance, or a PR distraction.
She would be notified in advance who would be present. So why is this a surprise? Literally, your own article mentions that it's not a surprise, but of course, People Magazine got a simp for Blake Lively. But good for him for showing up.
This is starting to get really, really funny because now the latest few things that Blake Lively's attorneys have done has given more evidence to Justin Baldoni.
And now, word behind the scenes is Justin himself is pushing back, basically exposing Blake's shocking attempt to keep Isabela quiet. So let's dive deep, because when you look at the timeline, the public appearances, the sudden silences, and the Hollywood chatter, this isn't just some harmless drama. This is shaping up like a full-on cover-up. It all started when Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively were thrown together for It Ends With Us.
They're again lying to the judge. They also said that he says she's a narcissist who cannot accept how she's behaved. I mean, let's be honest, both of these quotes are true.
Let's get back to what happened in that deposition room because there is a little leak here.
The conclusion here, I have said this since before, long before this ever broke out between her and Justin Baldoni. Blake Lively is not a good person, that she has proven herself not to be a kind person.
From day one, their on-set chemistry was undeniable. Fans loved it, media outlets amplified it, and suddenly, Blake and Justin became the unexpected duo everyone was talking about. But here's where things got messy. Insiders whisper that Justin's longtime partner, Isabela Ferrer, didn't just notice the shift, she felt it. Imagine being at a party where everyone's laughing with one person and you're left standing in the corner. That's the vibe Isabela gave off during those early press runs. And then the whispers grew louder. Hollywood chatter claimed Blake wasn't just protecting the movie, she was protecting her own brand. The talk in town is that Blake, determined to stay Hollywood's golden mom, didn't want Isabela complicating the picture.
On Blake Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie It Ends With Us, a film about domestic violence. And was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it.
Blake Lively has officially had her deposition, and she had to do it in front of Justin Baldoni.
Whispers online hint that Blake's camp considered Isabela a potential risk, someone who could poke holes in the narrative of Blake as the polished co-star and devoted mother. That's when the first murmur of a secret payoff began circulating. And honestly, the timing was too precise to ignore.
This is the chance for Justin's side to question her under oath, to really get the facts from her. And she's got to sit there and answer everything. She can't just ignore it or say no. She's got to answer questions and she's got to tell the story. And will that story match up to her testimony later in court?
And showing receipts that everything that she was claiming was a lie. That was the real smear campaign.
So in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, he accuses Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively of colluding with the New York Times. Do you guys remember what the article was actually entitled that they actually released on 12/21? We can bury anyone inside a Hollywood smear machine.
I'll tell you something I noticed myself. Justin Baldoni is usually the guy who writes long captions about kindness, gratitude, and vulnerability. He's the Hollywood poster child for uplifting messages. But right when this drama started swirling, his posts got darker, shorter, sharper. Phrases like truth always finds its way out and authenticity over perfection suddenly popped up on his feed. On the surface, sure, they sound motivational, but Hollywood chatter claims these weren't just cute quotes. They were shots fired, directly aimed at Blake. Industry buzz suggests Justin was growing frustrated, not only with the way his partner Isabela was being handled, but also with how Blake's team tried to control the narrative.
Armie Hammer, who got fired from Gossip Girl because he said during a dinner that she was a bitch, regarding Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, when I just recognize that they are up on their high horses and that they potentially treat people very bad.
Blake Lively has finally sat down for her deposition, and I'll be honest, it surprised me because I didn't think she was gonna, but she'd continue to find more excuses. The fact that she's now sat for a deposition makes me think a settlement is now even further away from a possibility.
Some whispers even say Justin felt like Blake was treating him like another PR pawn, useful as long as he played along, disposable once he pushed back. And let me be real with you, Justin doesn't strike me as the type to play second fiddle in his own life. So when his captions started shifting, it felt like a warning. Here's where the story takes its sharpest turn. Isabela Ferrer had been building real momentum. She was landing magazine spreads, walking carpets, and carving out her own spotlight. But then, almost overnight, she went silent. No red carpets, no interviews, no playful behind-the-scenes moments on Instagram. It was like she vanished into thin air. And that's not how Hollywood careers just fade. Not when you're on the rise. Word behind the scenes is she was encouraged to take a step back. And encouraged in Hollywood usually means one thing: pressure.
The deposition day, there's an article in the Daily Mail explaining that Blake Lively brought
I know for a fact that the mainstream media will lie and they will smear on behalf of their powerful friend. I believe in due process, which is why I always read the facts of the case before accepting the media narrative.
Surprise from Judge Lyman, so she could choose where she wanted to do this. Of course, because she's so famous, so she can do whatever she wants. So she chose to have the deposition at her attorney's offices, so everyone had to come there.
The whispers online hint at something even bigger: money on the table. A financial incentive neatly wrapped in legal agreements that essentially said, stay quiet, stay out of sight, and the checks keep coming. And to me, that screams hush payoff. Not coincidence, not bad luck, but a deliberate move to silence the one person who could disrupt Blake's clean-cut image. Let's be real, Blake Lively has always been a master strategist. This is a woman who knows how to sell her life as effortlessly as she sells a designer dress on the red carpet.
From Blake Lively, comparing herself, she's the mother of dragons in Game of Thrones, that she too has her dragons, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
Yes, the fact that Justin stepped up and showed up, which he's absolutely obligated to do and should do, because they're asking questions of her, and the only other person there who can really dispute or challenge is him.
From her perfectly timed family outings to Ryan Reynolds' viral dad jokes, nothing about her public image is random. So when the whispers about Justin and Isabela started gaining traction, Blake's machine went into overdrive. Rumors in the circle say her PR team huddled immediately, and the strategy was clear: bury the noise with wholesome headlines. And what do you know? Suddenly, the press was overflowing with puff pieces about Blake's motherhood. Photos of her walking hand in hand with her daughters, Ryan cracking jokes about being a full-time diaper guy, even Blake talking about baking pies at home for her family. Industry buzz suggests these weren't organic stories, they were placed intentionally fed to the media at the exact moment. Isabela's silence became noticeable, and the timing, too convenient. Almost like someone wanted us all distracted by the perfect family fairy tale, while the real story was being erased behind the curtain. Justin Baldoni has never been the type to play background.
But good for him for showing up. It's much harder to lie to somebody to their face. It is. And so he had to sit there calmly, collected, and just take it. Again, he's been taking it for a long time.
All right, you guys, it is Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni Day. Finally, to all of the women out there that are watching, no matter what you do in life, you never, ever, ever go full Amber Heard.
Blake Lively's team is subpoenaing Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's attorney, and asking to see all his correspondence and emails and phone calls in and out of the...
He's built his entire career on being intentional. The thoughtful actor, the director with a message, the man who prides himself on leading with honesty. So when Blake's machine started spinning the story in her favor, while Isabela quietly slipped from view, insiders whisper Justin made a decision. No more playing along. Word in the industry suggests he began dropping subtle but pointed clues, not just online, but in interviews and even production meetings. A reporter might ask him a softball question about It Ends With Us, and instead of giving the polished Hollywood answer, Justin would pivot to something about integrity or staying true to those who support you. He never said Isabela's name directly, but the subtext, clear as day. Hollywood chatter claims even crew members noticed the shift. One source said Justin would go off script during promotional events, talking about standing by the people who stand by you. That doesn't sound like a generic line. That sounds like a man making a statement, especially when the person he's protecting isn't even allowed a microphone. And to me, it felt like a quiet rebellion, not a tabloid fight, not a dramatic rant, but the kind of steady resistance that says, I see what you're doing, and I'm not letting you erase her. Here's the part that made my jaw drop. Whispers online hint that Blake's team wasn't just running interference. They were ready to open the checkbook, and not in a small way. Word behind the scenes says a six-figure agreement was floated toward Isabela Ferrer. Think about that. That's not pocket change. That's the kind of money you offer when you're desperate to make sure someone stays quiet. The talk in town is Isabela didn't take it lightly. Friends claim she struggled with the decision. On one hand, the money promised security, maybe even a financial cushion she hadn't had before. On the other hand, it meant sacrificing her truth, her chance to control her own narrative. And the timing? That's what makes it impossible to ignore. The exact moment Isabela's career momentum froze. No more red carpets, no glossy magazine shoots, was the same period Blake's name started popping up in glowing new brand partnerships. Skincare lines, fashion endorsements, lifestyle features. It felt like a trade-off. Keep the machine clean on Blake's side, silence the one voice that could complicate the narrative, and keep the headlines sweet and shiny. I can't shake the thought somebody was paying not for peace, but for control. Hollywood loves a story, but this time, there were two competing scripts being written. Blake's narrative was simple. She's the perfect co-star, the relatable mom, the PR dream who balances red carpets with bedtime stories. Her world is glossy, curated, safe. Justin's, however, was different. Insiders whisper that he wanted transparency about the behind-the-scenes struggles, about loyalty, about not letting powerful people bury inconvenient truths. To him, the brand wasn't perfection. The brand was authenticity. And then you have Isabela Ferrer, stuck in the middle. Hollywood chatter claims she became the conflict character in this real-life script, not because she wanted to be, but because her existence didn't fit either story. To Blake, she was a liability. To Justin, she was the proof of his loyalty. And to the public, she was the ghost who suddenly went silent. It's like watching two directors fight over the same film. Blake wanted to produce a feel-good romantic drama. Justin wanted to produce a raw indie feature. And Isabela, she was written out of the script altogether. Now let's talk about the smoke and mirrors. Did you notice how quickly Blake and Ryan Reynolds ramped up their playful couple routine online? Right when Isabela vanished, suddenly the internet was flooded with clips of Ryan teasing Blake, interviews where they joked about parenthood, and paparazzi snaps of them looking effortlessly happy. Hollywood blogs ate it up like candy. Every outlet ran with the Blake and Ryan relationship goals headlines. But industry buzz suggests this wasn't random. It was strategic. PR teams know distraction is the oldest trick in the book. When one story risks breaking through, you drown it out with another, shinier one. And in this case, Blake's family man image with Ryan was the perfect shield. Whispers online hint that even the timing of Ryan's snarky tweets lined up with tense moments around Justin and Isabela. Almost like every joke was doubling as a diversion tactic. Keep the fans laughing, keep the spotlight glowing, and no one will ask why Isabela suddenly went missing. To me, it felt like a magician's trick. The audience watches one hand wave in the air while the other hides the secret under the table. And in this show, Blake and Ryan were waving hard. When a Hollywood star starts feeling cornered, you can always tell by the way their inner circle reacts. And with Justin Baldoni, insiders whisper that his closest friends have been telling him point blank, stop protecting Blake. Some claim he's been venting privately, saying he's frustrated by how Blake's machine keeps spinning the story, silencing Isabela while keeping the spotlight shiny on herself. A longtime friend supposedly told him during a late-night call, "Your truth is your brand. Don't let them buy it away." And honestly, that line says it all. Justin built his reputation as the authentic guy in Hollywood, the one who didn't play the fake PR game. So when his own people are telling him he's in danger of losing that authenticity by keeping quiet, that pressure cuts deep. Hollywood chatter even suggests some of his collaborators are urging him to speak now or regret it later. It feels like Justin is standing at a crossroads. Keep swallowing Blake's narrative or finally step out and confirm what everyone's whispering. Now let's talk about Isabela Ferrer. Even in her silence, she hasn't been invisible. In fact, the clues she's left online tell their own story. Whispers online hint at posts that weren't just selfies or aesthetic shots. They carried messages. Phrases like keeping quiet doesn't mean being weak, and sometimes being replaced says more about them than about you. And here's the kicker. The timing of those posts lined up almost perfectly with Blake's media moments. Whenever Blake landed a glowing profile or had a new brand launch, Isabela would drop one of those cryptic captions. That's not a coincidence, that's commentary. Fans noticed too, comment sections filled with questions like, is this about Blake? And she's telling us without telling us. It's almost as if Isabela was refusing to be fully erased. She may not have had the platform or the PR muscle, but her subtle clues were like breadcrumbs leading back to the truth. For a while, Blake's machine was running smoothly. Family fluff pieces, glowing brand deals, Ryan cracking jokes. But now, word behind the scenes is that entertainment reporters are starting to side-eye the timing. Some journalists have begun asking why Isabela, who was poised for a breakout year, suddenly vanished without a trace. Others are noting how every time Blake faces even a whisper of controversy, a new feel-good headline magically appears. Industry buzz suggests certain outlets are now comparing the timelines. Isabela's sudden silence, Justin's cryptic posts, Blake's surging brand campaigns, and realizing the dots connect. And once the media starts asking those harder questions, the cover-up cracks. You can feel it. The polite puff pieces are shifting into investigative sidebars. The whispers are turning into headlines. And when that happens, the carefully constructed image begins to wobble. Now here's a twist. Ryan Reynolds, the guy who usually can't resist chiming in on anything, whether it's trolling his wife, poking fun at himself, or commenting on random Hollywood drama, has gone radio silent on this entire situation. The talk in town is that Ryan knows better than to draw more eyes to the Blake-Justin-Isabela triangle. The last thing he wants is for his quick-witted commentary to accidentally validate the whispers. So instead of cracking a joke, he's staying out of it completely. But here's the thing, silence can sometimes be louder than words. Fans who are used to Ryan's constant banter have started noticing the quiet. And when people notice silence, they start asking why. Hollywood chatter claims even his PR team has advised him, stay out of it, no matter how tempting it is to fire off a tweet. Which to me says everything. If there was really nothing going on, Ryan would be joking as usual. The fact that he's holding back, that silence is practically confirmation that there's more to the story. This isn't just about gossip, it's about power. Industry buzz suggests Blake used her influence to protect herself, while sidelining Isabela. Justin, on the other hand, is trying to flip the script and defend his partner. It's a tug of war, image versus truth. And let me tell you, fans aren't dumb. Rumors in the circle say fan accounts have been pointing out the suspicious timing of Blake's brand rollouts and Isabela's silence. Twitter threads, Reddit posts, TikToks, it's all over the place. The people are connecting dots. Insiders whisper Justin is ready to drop the shield. He's tired of being polite about Blake's maneuvers. Word behind the scenes is he's considering speaking more openly about what happened, especially if Isabela decides to finally break her silence. And when that day comes, Blake's perfect Hollywood bubble might just burst. So here's my prediction. I think Justin is done playing the polite game. He's dropping hints, and sooner or later, the truth about Blake's shocking payoff will come out. Isabela won't stay silent forever. And when she speaks, it won't just be gossip, it'll be the story that reshapes how people see Blake Lively's golden image. Because at the end of the day, silence can be bought, but not forever.